So here we are with another from the coach's desk. I'm Jordan, this is Jake. Let's go to a question from an athlete. Coaches, first, really enjoying the latest video series. I appreciate the opportunity to tap into your wealth of knowledge. Question is, when, if at all, do you recommend your athletes use a weightlifting belt or other support devices like wrist straps? Seems like if you use a belt every time you squat, you would be robbing yourself of maximum benefit of the exercise. However, when going heavy, say above a certain body weight percentage, a belt could be a tool that enables you to push further. Or does a PR with a belt simply have an asterisk next to it, like a Bonds home run record? Thanks for your time, A. What do you think?
Well, first off, let's kind of address the second aspect of this question was, does a PR with a belt, all right, simply have an asterisk next to it? And the case is no. The USA raw unequipped standards for powerlifting allow you to use a belt, okay? So a belt is not going to necessarily mean that you're going to be able to squat more weight, right? You either have the leg strength or you don't. Now, in regards to a belt is an excellent training tool to learn, all right? It's going to teach you how to correctly brace, all right, to support a heavy load on your back. Most athletes, no matter how many drills we got to go through, we talk about bracing and protecting the low back, they really just don't understand conceptually. And when you use a belt the right way, by setting the correct tension and then breathing down into your diaphragm, and all of a sudden that belt gets tighter because you're breathing into it. It gives you a reference cue, a circumferential cue that, hey, I am bracing correctly, right? All of a sudden, like now you're just simply in a safer position. You can go back and forth from using a belt. You don't always have to use one. Typically, I won't use one until I get fairly heavy.
Yep.
But I also know how to brace my low back.
Yep.
Right? So if you're a new athlete and you're really struggling with the idea of breathing down into your belly and correctly bracing, it's a great tool to learn. And you can use it the entire time. I don't think you're taking away anything, because the bottom line is, if you're training comprehensively in the gym with conditioning, strength, and all these different exercises, you're not wearing a belt for everything.
That's right.
Every time you pick up a kettlebell, every time you pick up a dumbbell, right, you're doing some type of stabilization of your midsection, okay? So I think the key idea with this specific question is, no, you can definitely use a belt. If you feel more comfortable, use it. If you struggle with bracing, use it. If you feel great without a belt, don't use a belt, all right? It's very different than using a squat suit, a bench suit, or the traditional powerlifting like wraps where you can't even bend your knees, all right? Those all kind of have an asterisk by it. I even feel like the Olympic weightlifting neoprene sleeves by, I think, Reband is the brand. I kind of feel like I squat a little bit more with those, all right? I've never done like an A and B test, but I kind of feel like, hey, I got a little bit more rebound out the bottom, but they are also allowed in both powerlifting and Olympic weightlifting.
Yeah, and I think that, so if we were to look at this from a competition standpoint, from like an external entity like USA Powerlifting, they accept it, but also just in our gym, just like the way that I personally see it and the way that I see it as a professional, I have no problem with belts. And as Jake said, they're just really a great educational tool. So many times we have athletes come in, and whenever we tell them to breathe, whenever they're going to do a squat, they breathe in and you see their chest rise and their belly suck in, and this is like the exact opposite. You put a belt on them, and now whenever they go to breathe in and they breathe in to their chest, they notice that the belt loosens up. And so now we can use this very specific tool to teach them the benefits of bracing and allowing the diaphragm to drop, to feel that pressure ball build in the lower abdomen, and then to feel the feedback of the tensioning belt. And this creates a beneficial cycle for the athlete, because now they feel more stable in their low back, they feel more confident in their squat, they start to lift more weight, they get stronger. Their midsection, even though they're using the aid of the belt, is still getting stronger. And every single rep that they do, they're doing with proper tension to support and stabilize their low back. And after a while, they take off the belt. Maybe we drop into another cycle where we're not doing such heavy weights. Like Jake said, a lot of times our athletes will switch into it when we get heavy, and then when we're not heavy, they'll go back to just natural squatting or completely natural squatting. But then now they have confidence, and so they learn how to do it without the belt, or they know how bracing should happen, and so they can do it without the belt. And then as we start to move back towards a barbell and things get heavier, And as their core strength starts to get stressed, either through fatigue of the type of training that we're doing, or just because of the weight, they throw the belt back on. And all of a sudden, they're moving perfectly again. They're not running into the common cues of a lack of spinal stability can cause, the common faults that a lack of stability can cause. And so again, they're lifting more and more weight. They're able to sustain that. They're not having to drop weight. They're able to meet the progressions or push their progressions even farther. All the time, their confidence is going up. And way more importantly, they're healthy. They're not putting their spine under any sort of undue stresses, and that's allowing them to train more. And the more volume of training that they can get in and recover from healthily, the better athletes they're going to be in the long run.
No asterisk.